Hello, this video is not sponsored. I bought this Misini brand UH-60 Blackhawk set for about $60 US. Its retail price is $66, but as of the recording of this video, right now it is $54 US on Amazon, as well as Misini's own website. And for that price, you get over 1,150 pieces. I really love how shockingly tiny this box is for the size of the set. It was absolutely just stuffed full of parts, and I really appreciate that because the bigger the packaging unnecessarily, the more we have to pay. So I appreciate them trying to keep costs down. As you saw in the package, this is intended to be 1/35th scale, which means it's trying to be actually minifig scale. It does not come with any minifigs, but there's a random minifig for the sake of scale. If you orient this to maximize its dimensions, you can get it out to over 57 centimeters, but just going from the tip of the refueling boom back to the tail, not including the tail rotor, it's about 52, 53 centimeters or 21 inches. As you see, this version comes with some extra stuff. That's a rack or pylon full of Hellfires there. This is intended to be a hydro launcher, a rocket launcher. And then you have either the small or large size of standard drop tanks, external fuel tanks for this machine. Currently installed on the craft at the same time, I have another one of the rocket launcher pods, as well as two inboard external auto cannons in the static positions, and yet another rack of Hellfires. Now, this was designed by Darth Designer, who you can find on YouTube as well as Instagram. And this is an authorized version of his design, the most updated version of his most updated UH-60, which includes all these extra weapons on there. You can go see his stuff and also purchase other instructions for other models he's done right off of Rubricable and build your own. But again, this is an authorized model. I made sure to check on that, and it gives you all the pieces that are needed, so you don't have to go out and find pieces on Bricklink and such. But do keep in mind that this is more of an advanced model because it is a fan style of design, what's typically referred to as a mock design. My own creation. It's not my own creation, but it's somebody else's own creation. So it's not really designed from the start to be for broad consumption for just the general market. Misini did put a 6+ rating on the box, and I think that's just completely wrong. This is really for adults, or at the very least, teens, adolescents, I guess, but you do have to be careful because it has some fragile bits. Basically, this is designed to look as good as reasonably possible without requiring any specialized molded parts created just for this machine. And being designed for minifig scale, it's actually, it has an interior with seats inside of there. Unfortunately, it is not easy at all to get access to that interior. They even have detailed components up in the cockpit, detailed instruments, which are given graphics with the help of stickers. All of the graphics on this are stickers, but a special type of sticker I'll explain in just a moment. But it is a shame that you're not able to get inside of there because there's a bunch of work that gets done. There's a bunch of design work that has been done. And then when you build this, there's a bunch of building effort that goes into it that you're no longer able to appreciate after the thing is put together. I noticed that the tail rotor is at an angle there, and the main rotor is also angled forward a little bit. You can actually adjust that if that looks a little bit off to you, to get it to more where it should be. I think it should be something in that range. I don't know the exact number of degrees. But overall, I personally liked it. I found I kind of had the right mindset going into this, which I think is very important, just knowing the context of how it was designed and who it's designed for. And I just went about it carefully. And the instructions are quality. They're produced well. They look good. And I feel like they give you enough information to get through it successfully. However, there are parts, like I said, quite a few parts, especially since this is completely hollow, where if you just go ham-fisted at it, where you just like Hulk smash, you are literally going to crush the entire thing. It is hollow on the inside. So if you're putting major subassemblies together without care, without paying attention to what's going on and what the repercussions of your actions will be, you can just shatter large portions of this. So you do have to watch out for that. Now that it's done, though, I will say it doesn't feel entirely fragile anymore. Not at all. I can just pick it up. I'm not worried about things falling off. Like once it all comes together, that shell forms a nice box structure. The tail is fairly solid as well. You got some studs on the side construction to help hold everything together. It's definitely swishable. It's definitely handleable. Now, the accessories out here, some of them are attached. Like this is only attached. The Hellfire rack is only attached with one single stud. So you can knock that off easily, but it's just not a big deal. One real quick note about the Hellfire rack. I did find that I had to orient the suggestions of fins back here very, very carefully in order to help this to actually fit into the spot. Ideally, there should be just a little bit more cutout back here. Just change out a piece, have a little spot where it kind of notches up to allow for those fins to fit in there, or just add one more piece to the adapter. So right on top of that stud, just add one more piece just to offset it a little bit. Just one very small little thing I think that wasn't tested properly. Speaking of that, I did encounter a few things along the way that I would consider to be kind of naughty moves by the original designer. Things that are often done by custom makers, fan designers, but that strictly speaking shouldn't be done because they do put, as the leading brand calls, stress on the elements. They stress the elements, such as the use of a brick 1x1 with one stud on the side, connected into a brick 1x1 with Technic hole, and connecting the Technic hole with the stud on the side. There's a slight difference in the height offset there. And as a result, if you try to put those together, the tops of the bricks are not going to line up perfectly. And you'll end up with just a weird situation where things ultimately just won't go together quite perfectly well just because of the math, how the math works out. There were a few areas where that did happen. And honestly, again, I just wasn't surprised. However, a more well-sorted, full-on commercial product, you would expect to have issues like that taken care of. And the brick manufacturer, I don't know who's actually making the bricks for Misini in this case for their own internal releases, that are not reboxes of other companies' stuff, but they do have standard proportions. There have been some companies where I've encountered the same sort of attachments that under, for example, Lego would be considered illegal connections. They wouldn't fit right. But with other companies, they don't have that slight difference in proportions the way that Lego does. So they actually are able to have successful connections in honestly ways that make more sense to me. But in this case, yeah, everything is as expected. And as a result, yeah, just a few little things, little tiny things. But overall, I mean, it did go together pretty nicely. I'm happy with the end result. There were 2 points where I thought I was missing pieces. One of them, I had just simply made a mistake. Usually, if I feel like I'm missing pieces, this goes for just about anybody, with any brand these days, quality is up across the board. If you think you're missing pieces, it's probably because you did something wrong. And in my case, one of those cases, it was because I did something wrong. I had used the wrong parts in one place, and I didn't even realize it until hours after I finished the build. In one other case, though, it seems like I was actually missing one of these 1x2 cheese slopes. So I replaced it with one from my own collection. That might still be my mistake. That part may have fallen to the ground. I just haven't seen it, but I did want to call out the experience that I did have there. Because everything is gray or black here, they don't use any weird colored parts on the inside to help guide your eyes. It takes a little bit extra long to find the pieces. You have to, when you have the pieces spread out to build this, you're going to be looking at a sea of gray with a tiny bit of black in there, and that just makes it a lot harder and take longer to find the parts. But ultimately, it's not a bad experience, just something you have to be prepared for. Again, it's all about setting expectations. And this is more of a high-end kit for more discerning tastes and folks who don't want to see any weird little colors sticking through. It's a very valid market. It's a large enough market that I think it was a good decision here. But again, it does say 6+ on the box. And I think that for a 6-year-old kid, this would not be a good thing to try. Not even if it's their 50th brick build kit to make. It's just, it really requires some extra care. The rotor, the main rotor is able to turn, but it doesn't spin freely. It does have friction in there. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. It's just something to be aware of. I could spin this up, but it's just going to be heating up the plastic in there because it does have friction. I'm not going to do that. But back here, tail rotor is able to spin freely just fine. On the topic of stickers, sorry, I'm just kind of moving this around, but again, I can't really show you the inside because it's not designed to be opened up. On the topic of stickers, this uses what I've been told are called peel and stick stickers. I like to call them self-adhesive decals. It's clear backed. The sticker sheet is clear backed, but ultimately you peel the thing off, you apply it to the surface, and you better get it right the first time because you're not going to be able to fix it after that. Just beware. They really, any company that uses this, I like this design, I like this style, but any company that uses this style of sticker really needs to put like a whole page or two of warnings in their instructions saying, hey, you may never have experienced these. You need to get it right the first time, because once you put that down, you actually then peel back the clear part and take all the backing away, and you're left with just the decoration. You can see it right there. It's a little bit raised. I believe it's a UV process, a UV printing process. These don't look so great with the black. Again, it's black, especially a little bit of the clear around the side. It's kind of like a glaze that went over the top of it, but it does work really nicely. It gives you no edge, absolutely no edge around it. Again, on the inside, in the cockpit, there are some instruments, including some pretty small ones, including even some 1x1s that do use some of those stickers. I think they look great, but you're not able to see them anymore, which is unfortunate. But just be aware that that is a thing. If you get one of these sets, or you get a set that has suspiciously large, like larger than the piece, clear backing, it's probably because you're supposed to put it on and then take it off, which leaves a really nice effect. But you're not going to be able to take that off again if you want to, just take the stickers off and bring it down to just a plain brick. I mean, you can technically do it, but it's difficult. And if you make any mistake when you first put it on, that's it. Like I did with one of these back here. You can see that the 2 is off. It actually stuck a little bit to the adhesive backing. So just be aware of that. I also notice a few little areas where the color is slightly off. Like this gray is slightly off compared to the others. That's just another thing to be aware of. These, whoever's making the bricks here isn't at 100%. And interestingly, that one has the same. So it's the batch that those 1x4 tiles came from seems to be just a little bit off. Most of it is well within the range. And I know some folks like to say, well, differences in colors look great, especially on a military model. You want that. It's patina or it's camouflage. But, very few people actually want parts to be inconsistent and quality control to be poor. I was really worried about these gear, the landing gear. I didn't think that it was going to be able to stand out particularly well, but honestly, I mean, I've picked this thing up and put it down a bunch of times and I don't have to be very careful about it. It does have enough strength down in there. I'm impressed by that because it's got a Technic connection here at the back, but then there's just one single stud for the forward-facing strut. But it works out just fine. And then back at the back, this is where I thought I had some missing pieces, but I didn't. So no actual tires are used there, just a couple of cylinders. But that's about all there is to see with this thing. You already saw the extra bits. Again, you can just take any of these things off and just swap them out at any time. So if I want to put another Hellfire over here, and here you'll be able to see what I was saying, where you might want to connect this right, let's say right about, come on, give me that second slot. There it is right there. But it has to be angled. It's not even attached all the way because the fins get in the way. So I have to rearrange the fins a little bit to make them have some space, or just move this way back, which works, but doesn't look great. Again, very small thing, easily fixable. Just take a spare part, a little 1x1, just put it under there, give it a little bit of offset, and you can put it wherever you want. On the topic of spare parts, these are the ones that I had left over. So like I was just saying, you just use a spare 1x1. This is their brick separator that they include here, which is kind of cool. This is a vise for taking pins out and Technic-like things. But yeah, this should do the trick pretty well. And here's that sticker sheet. So if you're not familiar with these, You can see it's slightly raised right there, and it just looks like a regular clear back sheet. But when you pull that up, so let me see if I can demonstrate it to you right here from this corner where you still have a little bit of decoration on the sheet from the branding there. Just pull this back, and you can see that's a clear vinyl right here, and it has the decoration right there. So when you stick that to something, it will adhere, and then you pull the clear off after that. So you leave just the decoration, pull the clear off. Just be aware of that. Overall, I think the printing was done pretty decently well. And again, at the end of the day, this was roughly a $55 to $65 US set with 1,150 some odd pieces. And it's big and it's good, but it's definitely for advanced users, advanced fans. You just have to watch out for that. Overall, though, I think the value is incredible on this. I mean, even some of the other competing brands out there that do good quality stuff at fairly low prices still are going to be like 40%, 50% more in cost. No, actually more than that. Yeah, like as much as 100% more in cost, depending upon the market that you're in. And certainly if this was from the leading brand, it would be at least at least $100, maybe 120 or so. Quality is down slightly here with the part quality. Most of the negatives about this, if you can call them that, are just based on the design itself. And in many circles, the designs of fan designers are very, very, very highly regarded, and understandably so. So it's just kind of a matter of, again, expectation. What do you want? What are you looking for? If you're looking for something that is fully sorted, that anybody can build as their first ever brick built thing, this is definitely not it. But if you're more of an advanced builder, you're going to be patient, you're going to be careful, and you want something that looks really, really good while using almost exclusively pieces that you've seen before. This had just, I think, one case of a relatively modern part that was used in the windscreen to good effect as a 1x2 plate with studs on top and bottom. I love to see stuff like that. So many companies have been using innovative and useful direction changer pieces like that for well over a decade. It's pretty much only Lego that isn't caught up with the rest of the world there, but this does have a couple of those. But most of what you see here is traditional stuff because it was made by a Lego fan in the first place to be built with Lego pieces. This is just so much cheaper, and I think it looks great. Thank you for watching. I hope that this was of some value to you. Don't forget, if you do purchase off of Amazon or any place that I end up ultimately listing as an affiliate in my video description, if you want to make a purchase of something, please consider using one of my affiliate links. Absolutely no pressure whatsoever, though. But if you're already going to buy something, if you hit one of those links first and then go buy whatever you want within a day, like it doesn't have to be immediate, it just sticks around with your browser for a day or so, I may get a small commission, which ultimately helps me to buy more of these sets, which I then review for you. Again, thanks for your support. I'll talk to you again soon.